I am on my way to the specialist right now. It is 7:40 in the morning. It is negative 13 degrees outside. I am so late. I have no idea where I'm going. I'm so stressed. Oh my God. Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel. I have some excellent news to share, as you can tell by my mile-long smile. I just got out of my specialist appointment and we are good to go. Yay! I had such an excellent doctor's appointment. I had two doctors. I had one guy who was actually doing his rotation at the hospital that day, who was like my main doctor seeing me. And then I got to see a actual gynecological specialist who followed up on his assessments and did some other examinations and stuff to confirm what he had come to his conclusion about. So the best part was that talking to him, he was so enthusiastic. Like, he had read over all my records and then listened to me re-explain everything I was going through, and took all of his notes, asked me all kinds of questions after I was done about my medical history, about my cycles. I got to talk to him about my ovulation pains, which he told me is absolutely nothing to worry about. And honestly, he said that I'm probably feeling those pains recently because I am getting ready to try to conceive. And he says that a lot of women subconsciously aren't aware. They're unconscious of having ovulation pains, but it actually happens a lot more frequently than anybody thinks. But women don't really pay attention to that part of their cycle, so it's easy to just write it off as a cramp or a backache or whatever. Mine have gotten pretty intense, whatever, but he still says it's not anything to worry about. Anyway, so after we went down that whole rundown, like for almost an hour, we were talking about my history, my symptoms, and this and that. He basically also told me that in his professional opinion, he says it also just sounds very mysterious. He said that if I did have something wrong with my uterus, or if I had like a fistula or an abnormal tract, as my doctors in California suggested it could be, he said that I'd be symptomatic throughout my cycle, not just when I'm menstruating. He also listened to me talk a little bit about the symphysis pubis disorder concern of mine, but he said that since I didn't have any problems with that in my pregnancy, he says he really just doesn't think that is going to be an issue in all of this. And in his professional opinion, he thinks that it's just residual nerve damage from giving birth, which is normal and it does go away with time, and it isn't something that I should let prevent me from trying to conceive. But with that said, he told me, let's go ahead and do a transvaginal ultrasound and like a pelvic exam and everything like that. We'll check everything out structurally to at least rule out any kind of damage or anything that could be going on that might be causing this issue. So he did the whole thing. Like, I got the whole workup, you guys. And what was super cool about the ultrasound he did was that he turned the screen so I could see it, and he was showing me everything that he was seeing. He's like, look, this is your cervix, this is your uterus, these are your ovaries. He says your ovaries don't show any cysts on them, they look perfect, they're right where they should be. He's like, your uterus, do you see this like gray area? This is your endometrium, it's actually a little thicker than normal. And I was like, uh-oh. But he goes, don't worry, it's because, you're only a couple days away from your period to start. So that's all good. That's the way it should look. And then he did like all these other things, and he goes, okay, he's like, I don't see anything wrong with your reproductive tract at all. He says, he told me that my pelvic exam looked fine. And then, then he called in the specialist to come and redo the whole process, just to make sure that his assessment was correct. She came through, she did everything, she looked at everything looked fine. So no fistulas, no HSG needed, no holes in my uterus, everything looked fine. What they both came to the conclusion of was that they truly think that it's nerve damage, and that just during my menstrual cycle, when the body already has a lot of hormones going on and increased blood flow and everything like that. It's just irritating that area. Now, personally, I think it's a little strange that it did seem like the way my symptoms were presenting were somehow correlated to whatever mechanics go behind symphysis pubis disorder. But neither one of them seemed concerned about it at all. They said, like the specialist, when she was done, she was like, "You're good to have a baby, go for it." She goes, "I don't think that any of this should stop you from proceeding. Everything looks fine." She said that my reproductive organs look as though I had never even given birth and that I was in my 20s. So that's awesome. She said that I have no damage and everything just looks textbook. So, yeah, so the prognosis is I can start, trying to have a baby next month, which is awesome. I had been taken to the point of being so convinced that something serious was wrong and that it wasn't worth risking my body, that I pretty much had accepted that we were not going to be able to have another baby or to even try, So I feel like a whole new future has been unwrapped for me, and I'm so, so thankful and excited. I am still very nervous and worried about there still being issues with pain once I get pregnant, and especially later on, if I get pregnant, I should say. Especially later on toward my 3rd trimester when the pelvis is relaxing. I'm really afraid that I'm going to be in some serious pain. But I also know that there is a way to manage nerve damage with certain medications, and that there's physical therapy, and that so long as nothing looks wrong with my body right now, hopefully it will all just be minor and manageable. That's the story. So hopefully this is the last time you guys ever have to hear me talk about, pelvic exams and birth injuries and stuff. I do have a mammogram that I need to do on March 6th. So I think I'll do a video on that experience just to give me something to put my mind at ease as I gear up for that. But I'm only 34, but I need to get it done because I have a tumor in my left breast that my doctors in California said was benign, but that I should have a follow-up done on it in 5 years, and it's been 6. So I'm going to go to the oncology department of the same hospital I just went to in a couple weeks. So I'll post an update about that at some point. But otherwise, just expect normal old boring TTC videos from me next month. I'm super pumped. I'm really excited to finally get a chance to even try, So that's it. That's my update. Thank you everyone so much for all of your comments and your warm wishes and your positive thoughts and all that good stuff. It was such a relief to not feel like I was alone in this, and that I had this channel to, channel my thoughts and fears and feelings into. It's been very therapeutic. So thank you all so much for putting up with me. But I will be back in a few weeks with my cycle 2 journal, like cycle day 1 of cycle 2 video, something like that. Because I do have some new things that we're trying that I'll share when my next cycle starts. Anyway, have a good one, you guys, and I will talk to y'all soon.